Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
Yeah, I don't think we have to be very sophisticated in our analysis to appreciate that this is no longer the party of law and order, if in fact it ever was. I think you make a powerful argument here, Joy, that it was less about law and order, more about controlling people. And part of the work that was done during the Obama administration that I really appreciated the opportunity to be a part of was this work to make our criminal justice system more fair and more consistent with our values. It's always been an aspirational, flawed system, but progress was being made, and there was bipartisan appetite for that work. And then along came Donald Trump, and I just don't think that we have to do anything other than call it what it is, an effort to be results-oriented and to put one man above the law without any concern about the consequences for the larger America and the progress we still need to make.
I think it's outrageous the Georgia Court of Appeals is delaying Trump's trial until after the November election, just the latest example of Trump derailing the judicial system. I'm once again left going, how is this even possible? You know, we've already done the, televised investigation of Fani Willis's, private life, and she was deemed, it went forward. I'm like, now what is this? That they're able to still, and in the meantime, you have an election denier refusing to certify elections in Georgia, right? There was that one story out of Georgia. I mean, what do we do about this, Carl? I guess I'm asking you as a former campaign strategist. I feel like all this other stuff is the distraction, and that's what we ought to be paying attention to.
One, you win by as much as you possibly can, so that there's no question.
Yeah.
Two, you have good lawyers on retainer, and Mark Elias is among the best. So it's good to see him out there fighting the good fight.
Yeah,
and you hope that our institutions hold up on this assault.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, could you cue Alanis Morissette? I saved this for you because noted esteemed school board member that you are. Florida school bans book about book banning.
Yep.
I'm just saying. I think
It's incredibly meta.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't you think?
A book about book bannings has itself been banned by a school board in Florida at the behest of right-wing Moms for Liberty.
Oh, boy. Lord.
Ban this book by author Alan Gratz has been removed from libraries in Florida. The author noted the irony of the school board acting just like the villains in his book. He said they banned the book because it talks about the books that they've banned and because it talks about book banning. It feels like they know exactly what they're doing and they're somewhat ashamed of what they're doing and they don't want a book on the shelves that calls them out. I mean, irony has just coughed up blood and died, but I mean...
Maybe he needs to write a book about a school board banning a book about book banning. About book banning.
An enigma wrapped in a riddle. Wrapped in a rhyme. Yeah. Ay. I mean, that's the thing. When you think you've hit a new level of ridiculousness with these right-wingers, I mean, all the way up to the Supreme Court and Martha Ann Alito spending, time and energy stewing in her house thinking, how can I come up with a flag that will annoy gays? It's just... Really? Because she has to look at a couple of rainbows for a month?
Yeah. I was like, why don't you just wear some white pants after Labor Day?
Yeah.
You are a scamp. Oh, you know what? I'm with Junior Bill, who tweeted, where's the GoFundMe where I can donate so the Alito's neighbors can make the outside of their house as aggressively gay as possible?
Ha! Is that columns? I'm not sure what that would entail. Columns and a detailed topiary?
Tons of uplighting. I don't know. You know, Carl, you are a well-known not only campaign strategist, school board member, but also a scamp. And I love this thread. Imagine if the Democrats drafted a national background check law and called it Hunter's Law and forced Republicans to vote against it.
Love it.
I mean, this is why I love that the Jasmine Crockett's and the Jared Moskowitzes and the Eric Swalwells are not just, alpha liberals, but they're funny. They use humor. They use like every weapon at their disposal to try to, put a spotlight on how ridiculous these Republicans are.
I think part of it is that and this is why this show is so, important right now.
Yes, absolutely.
You have to laugh. You have to laugh.
Or you cry all day.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
that's our liner.
Get through it, you don't laugh.
Yeah. I mean, But, at the same time, Bob Seska, who we had yesterday, I love how he says this. The lack of a 5-alarm urgency from the political news media about the possibility of another Trump presidency, given all the things, is easily the most widespread and damaging case of apathy and gaslighting in modern U.S. history. This isn't a game. It's a national emergency. And that's what I feel like, Carl. This isn't an election in November. It's an emergency. It is a break glass moment for this country.
Right. And, as we say often, like, if you are not so tired that you can get up in the morning and know who won the election, you didn't do enough. So get off the couch, get on the phone, go door knocking, make donations, call friends and relatives that don't vote, whoever. You shouldn't be the only person that's voting. You should be bringing everybody who is.
Yeah. This last one I saved for you. MS tweets, to everyone who says they're not into politics, it's time to educate yourself because your life literally depends on it. I mean, that's the thing that drives me nuts, Carl. The half of the country that doesn't vote or goes, oh, I don't do politics. Well, you better, or politics is going to do you.
Right.
You don't realize why your neighbor just died of an ectopic pregnancy. Right. You don't realize, on and on and on, right?
Yeah, you may not have heard your name on the list, but that's just a yet kind of scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
I've run out of shovels that can break through the bedrock.
Yeah.
With how far down we've gone as a country and what we talk about in these campaigns. Yeah. I remember a time talking with you about Mitt Romney's presidential campaign against Obama and being like, can you believe the tax policy that Mitt Romney's pushing?
It's outrageous. Yes, I know. Remember normal politics? Yeah. That's crazy. I was going to make a John Wick reference, Chris. I'm like John Wick breaking through the cement to get weapons to fight this new low.
You still haven't watched that movie?
Oh, just only a little bit. I couldn't take any more. Anyway, Carl, my point is, you're right. Breaking through the cement, getting the right weapons. I just don't know. You're right. You just, when you think there's a new low, but this rhetoric, this violent rhetoric against politicians, judges, doctors, I mean, this is new. And it's constant, and it's become daily. I mean,
it is part and parcel with a very large segment of the Republican Party at this point, and it's unfortunate, and it's frightening, not only for our democracy, but for everything that is related to our democracy, all of the norms that we have in our society. And we have one person to blame for it.
Yeah, I just, and just in terms of a Republican Party that just does nothing, but act as a defense team / campaign, aides to Donald Trump. They're hauling, trying to haul Merrick Garland, hold Merrick Garland in contempt after this ridiculous Mayorkas. They're saying this is for the Joe Biden impeachment,
right?
Which is also based on nothing. I've just never seen a party so thoroughly useless.
Well, in fairness, they did go shopping for red ties. So they have kept the extra long red tie industry in humming along. But you're right, it's frightening, and it's one gimmick after another gimmick after political stunt after political stunt, all designed to feed Trump's presidential campaign.
And can I just say on the other side, someone wrote a piece, a lot of people do tweets with all of Joe Biden's accomplishments, and they are bewildering at this point. And I literally thought, oh, this is too long to read on air. Oh, this is too boring. Like how much he's actually gotten done. I mean, they were talking this morning on TV about, the right wing swing in Europe because their economies aren't doing well. And then people turn to authoritarians. And I'm like, and our economy is literally leading the world. We are the envy of the world. Right. What Joe Biden has done just on that front has rescued us from the wreckage of Donald Trump's economy and COVID response. And this one, Sunday Divine threads, the average annual inflation since 1953 is 3.5%, so our current inflation is slightly below normal. Oh, and we have the lowest unemployment rate since the 1960s. Thanks, Team Biden. How often do you hear that? That we're just...
You don't.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you've got Republicans also saying that crime is on the rise and everything else, and yet the FBI says that we're at record lows for all sorts of violent...
Everything.
Felonies.
Yeah. Again, statistics that would be too boring to read. Yeah. Every single category is down under Joe Biden.
Right.
And yet they're running on America's a mess, a crime-ridden mess.
And the New York Times will run, 15 stories about Biden's age and 0 stories about the new FBI statistics.
Right.
Right. Right.
Right.
I mean, that's part of it. Lincoln Project said, it's weird. I haven't received an influx of manic Biden fundraising emails immediately following the Hunter Biden verdict yesterday. No Biden Bibles, scraps of his suit for sale, or mentions of guillotines either. I mean, if ever there was a contrast with the two parties, it was from the president on down, the reaction to Hunter Biden's, and I keep saying it. It's like the president always says, you can only love your country when you win, Carrie Lake. How many lawsuits is this in that she just lost again?
11 billion.
Carl, are you concerned about that? Because I think we all know this is what 2024 is going to look like. Mm-hmm. There's going to be 11 billion Carrie Lakes and Donald Trump on down screaming about election fraud, and they didn't really lose.
Lawsuits. I think Democrats are ready for that, though. We were certainly ready last time around. And unfortunately this time around, and this is why it's so important for people to be very active in this election, Republicans have been nibbling around the edges and in some cases deep inside the election system in this country. And so to weaken it, to make it more susceptible to overturn, et cetera.
Yeah.
If you're in the sound of these voices, you need to do something to help this across the finish line.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.